Welcome everybody to Red G Fox. Yeah. Now today, since we started this channel back in July, there are episodes that I am so excited to get to, right? We got season 2, season 3, so many, and it's going to take time. But when I started this channel, this is one I could not wait to break down. So an episode breakdown today, we are breaking down one of the best, if not the best, most popular episode of season 2. That is the Card Sharks. Now, on this one, I will get to it as quick as I can. Let's get through a brief summary. Brief summary before sometimes I just jump right into it, but I'll try to do as much as I can. Brief summary, Lamont's coming home. He wants to play poker with some buddies that he's played before, and Fred, in his wisdom, knows he already got set up, he's going to lose, and he does everything in his power to teach Lamont a lesson. So let's get to it. So Lamont comes in, and as he pulls up, he's got a box full of food, and he walks in and he sees Fred laying down on the couch, as Fred should, right? He's 65, cut the guy some slack. And Lamont's like, oh, it reminds me of Andy Griffith, where anytime Andy would come in, he'd find Barney asleep, he would find a way to play a prank with him, right? For good fun. So Lamont does the same thing. He backs out quietly, and then he honk, honk, and slams the door, and he's like, hey, Pop, let him know he's home, like he just pulled up. And you see Fred jump up, and he's getting the vacuum, and he's vacuuming, he's acting like he's hard at work. And Lamont comes in and he's like, hey, working hard. He's all, it's never done, son. Cleaning, coordinating. And he's all, I'm doing the work of a woman's work is never done. He's like, you're the woman, right? He's all, that's right. And he's like, you're also the biggest liar. He said, man, and then he touches the pillow. He's like, why is that pillow so warm? Why is the couch so warm? He got him. But Fred comes, he's like, maybe it's the cat. It's such a simple line and simple thing where we're like, it's nothing big, right? But it's so funny to see Fred come up with these lies to try to get out of it, as all of us have probably done it sometime. And Fred's like, oh, it might have been the neighbor's cat, and he's like, here, kitty, kitty, kitty. And one's like, get out of here. And he goes, right now, I want honesty. Fred's like, all right, I'll be honest. He's like, I will pay you $5 if you tell the truth. Did you do this today? Did you get any work done today? Fred's all, no, give me my $5. And that's the top 5 funny. The way, I don't know what Lamont's thinking. Fred will say, he'll lie, he'll be honest, whatever it is. If you offer him $5, and he doesn't care if you ridicule him. And he's straight up. And so Lamont's not happy. And they go in there, and they go in the kitchen, and Lamont's getting all this food ready. And Fred's like, well, what's happening? What's going on tonight? He's like, oh, I got a card game going. I'm playing poker. I got to get the place ready. And Lamont's like, with who? And then he tells them, oh, it's a couple guys I played before. And he tells them who it is. And that's when he goes, it's so funny. You go back to season 1 where you had Ugly Arthur Matthews' son bought him a color TV when Fred wanted a color TV so bad, and Lamont wouldn't do it. And Lamont was pissed. He's like, because Fred was saying he was a better son than him. And he's like, you're saying he's better? He went to jail, he's some troublesome guy, and he's better than me because he bought a color TV. Now Lamont's playing poker with them, and I love that they bring it back. It's almost like it is, they remember, and some shows don't do that. So as he goes and he finds out, he's like, yeah, he's here to play, and they're a couple of the guys, and then that's when Fred goes, they go out in the living room. Fred's like, well, how much did you win? And Lamont gives him a look, right? He's like, how did you know I won? I never brought this up to you. And Fred knows right away. And Lamont should take this advice. All of us, anyone who is a youth, including my own kids who I try to teach lessons I've learned in life, there's 2 ways. You could be one who listens and learns and don't repeat the same mistakes, or you could be one that, like me, ignores and goes down and makes that mistake and learns on my own. And Lamont is going to take the second route, right? As we'll find out. But Fred's like, man, it's an old trick. A bunch of buddies, you get together, you lose a little bit of money, and then they set you up for a next big one. And Lamont's not hearing it, right? We already know Lamont's cool, man. I'm cool, and I know what's going on. No one's going to pull the wool over his eyes. So he sets up the tablecloth. He's getting everything ready. And Fred sits there and says, you know what? I'm not going to play. I swore to your mama that on her deathbed, she promised me, her last words were, don't let you and Lamont play poker. And Lamont's like, that's not her last words. He said, you told me they were something else. And Fred's like, okay, I'm going to be honest. This is top 5 funny, this whole speech. He's like, I'm going to be honest. The last thing she says. He says, we were in there, me and the doctor were there, and your mama was sitting there ready to, coming towards the end of her life. And she goes, Fred, if you and Lamont ever get sick, don't use this doctor. And then she died. And Lamont, I love Lamont. He's like, he's so sad because he's believing it, and he's thinking of his mom. He's like, man, that's terrible. And Fred's like, I know, I had to walk out with that doctor. Oh my goodness, the writing on this, and it's like you said, this is just like when this is just side stuff to set up the episode, other comedies don't do that as well. They'll say, okay, here it is, and they'll get in, and the side stuff is kind of, oh yeah, a few funny things, and then you get to the main jokes of the main story, and it's hilarious. It's a miscommunication, like Three's Company, or He Said. It's all these great situationals. Sanford and Son, even just the mundane stuff, is insane good writing and performed well. Probably even ad-libbed sometimes by Red Fox and Damon Wilson. So he gets that, and he says, your mama said the poker is the what is it? The cards are 52 devils in Satan's army. 52 devils, Satan's army, and don't play. And Lamont's like, nope, I had enough. Then he hears them. They're there. They're at the door, and Lamont's got to go upstairs and freshen up real quick. Fred gets the door, and oh my gosh, when they walk in, that is as cool as the other side of the pillow. Man, that is slick, Rick. They walk in, and they just got the looks, and he's like, yo, man. And Ron Glass, he's there, and Hucklebuck, like the names. You got Rooster, Hucklebuck, and Skeeter. And when they come in and Fred meets them, they're like, hey, what's happening, man? And one of them, Rooster even taps his stomach. And then he goes, you must be Rooster. And he's all, nah, I'm Hucklebuck. And remember Fred earlier, he's like, well, now what is a Hucklebuck? So he goes, then I know you. He said, you got to be Skeeter Matthews. He's you look just like your father, Ugly Matthews. I mean, Arthur Matthews. Arthur Matthews Sr. And he's like, yeah, who are you, Pop? What do you call him? Papa Sanford? He's all, no, I'm Mama Cass. So right away, Fred's already talking smack with these guys. He's not their buddies. He's not going to fall for their cons, and he doesn't trust them a hill of beans. And their outfits, which we have fun facts on. Stay tuned. Or you can fast forward to the fun facts section and find out really good fun fact on this and their outfits. But as we get to it, they sit down and they're ready to play, and they're going, and Fred's, he'd already said earlier, that's what I said, sometimes I miss these parts. He'd already told Lamont, hey, we need to come up with a signal if they're cheating. If I see something to cheating, and he said, I'll do this, like swat flies. He'll swat flies with the fly swatter or his hand, and they come down, or Lamont comes down, and now he's like, hey, you ready to do it to us again, Lucas? He keeps messing up his name. But it's funny when he comes down, I think it's Hucklebuck. He said, he calls him Lamont. So some of them know his name, but Skeeter never remembers his name. So he sits down, he's like, yeah, let's do it, let's get it going. And then Rooster, you can already see right now the con's coming. You can, we know, right? Lamont's not seeing. He's like, hey, man, we don't want to play this penny any game. Let's bump up the stakes. And Skeeter's like, no, we can't do that. This man, we're a guest in his house. We got to stick. Oh, what a great guy, right? You can't even, it's like Wally Cleaver. You cannot fall for this. And Lamont is just hook, line, and sinker. They saw Lamont a mile away. And Hucklebuck's, yeah, man, that's kind of, I love Ron Glass's Hucklebuck. One of my favorite characters in Sanford and Son history. And he's just so small, such a minuscule role. Like so many other greats in Sanford and Son. But he's got the look, he's got the attitude, and the way he just is chilling, he's laying back, and he's like, nah, man, let's get some fun in this game. Let's get some excitement. And so he's like, hey, let's ask, what is he called? I can't remember all the names. It's Lucas, he never calls him Lamont. And so he goes, let's ask him. At least he didn't call him Lamar like George Foreman in that episode where he messed up. Instead of calling him Lamont, he called him Lamar. Anyways, and Lamont's like, yeah, you know what? Let's do it. Let's spice it up. Let's do it. I'm down for that. And so and then Fred's all smacking his hand, like killing a fly. Like, don't. They already set you up. And then they sit down and they get the deck and they're getting ready to find out who's gonna deal, right? And so he does it. Skeeter does the little cards, shows, and he goes, hey, man, I'm lucky. Looks like I'm dealing. He set that up so he could be the dealer. And then Fred just starts whacking everyone. It's just all quite funny. He's hitting everyone. If you watch, he does not look like he pulls his punches. Watch that scene. All of them, Hucklebuck, Rooster, they're like, oh, man, come on. And they're flipping out, and they're getting hit hard. Fred just went to town on that when he's hitting everybody. And that is the ultimate sign. So throughout this, when they get to the next one, Lamont's betting, and Fred's like, nope. And he's like, hey, how about we get a drink? And they're like, yeah, how about get us? Oh, no, before that, I'm sorry. Fred gets up, and he's like, well, what am I supposed to do? And he's like, go find something to do. And he goes out there, and then he starts dancing. And he's doing that. Remember his Applejack and trucking, and he's doing all his dances, and he's got the music, and it's so distracting, but it's so funny. And they're even cracking up at him. And Lamont shuts it off, and he's like, well, I got nothing to do. So he's like, how about everybody want a drink? So he gets the drinks, and he's walking around, he's looking at the cards, and then he starts pouring in the drink. And it's supposed to be just, a little bit. And he's just filling Skeeter's glass up to the max. And even Hucklebuck's looking at it like, what the Who's going to drink all this? And he's like, you can't. And then as he goes, Lamont's like, and then he's all bottoms up, and Skeeter looks at him, he's laughing, he's like, what, Pops? And so Lamont's like, rightfully so, he's like, he can't drink all that pop, what are you doing? So he takes it, and as he's playing it off, smart move by Fred, he's all, these three, no one has as much as these. You know, he's singing a song, let him know that he's got three of a kind for Skeeter. And then he's going over him and he's all, so throw him in, Joe. Everybody knows, Sanford and Son. We get it in the comments, even on the Sanford Son official page. I see it all the time where it's, throw it in, Joe. Throw it in, Joe. He's singing in Lamont's ears. And Lamont is not having it. He's all, stop, you know, stop. And he's like, all right, you know, and he's doing it. And he's trying to do more things. And then he's being much more of a distraction. And Lamont's done. He's like, remember, I think he raises it, and so they're raising it, and he's thinking, do I do it? Do I do it? I got a really good hand. And he's like, get out of here, Pop. Get out. And he's like, all right, fine. I'm not going to do nothing. He leaves. He disappears. And as Lamont's deciding what to do, the power goes out. And they're all, hey, what's going on? Lamont's like, I got it. Runs in the kitchen, and as soon as he flips the power switch, Fred's like, don't do it, son. He said, don't do it. Man, they are setting you up. And he's like, look, I know what I'm doing. Don't distract me. I'm not going to say word for word, right? Because like I said, you can just watch the episode. But I'll cut it as quick as I can because I want to cut these down time-wise. So he goes back and he's like, don't you come through this kitchen door. And he lays down the law. So he sits down. He's like, all right, guys, I put a pin in it. We're good. And he sits down. And then there's a... And he's like, oh, I promise. We'll get to it. And you got to give it to the guys. They're patient, right? What I don't get is why Fred's doing this. Does he really think that Skeeter's not... He could be doing whatever he wants to the cards. They're all in on it. He could be saying, hey, you want this? You want that? Let's set it up. I'll win. I mean, Fred's actually hurting Lamont's chances. He already cheated, but still. So Lamont goes out there. When it's Fred's at the door, and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, you told me not to come through the kitchen door. And he goes, let me see this hand. And he's like, see, this is a sucker's hand. He's like, they're setting you up. He's like, no, stop it, Pop. I know what I'm doing. I've won money from them. He goes back in there. Tries to finish. He's like, all right, guys, we got it. We got the cards. Let's do it. Let's roll. And then there's a top at the glass. And so they're kind of getting impatient, especially Skeeter. He's like, come on, man. And Lamont gets up and he jerks that door open and no one's there. And then you hear it again and he lifts the blinds. It's Fred. And he's saying, no. How many warnings? You know, this is so comical. Go look at the Titanic. How many warnings did they get about icebergs? And they ignored it. And what happened to Titanic? Lamont, he is happening the exact same thing. He's ignoring all the warnings that his dad is giving him. My favorite one of all of them, he sits down and there's a phone call. Now, there ain't no cell phone, so he must have ran to a neighbor's house real quick. But he calls, and when he gets the phone, it's Fred. He's like, don't do it, Lamont. Don't take that hand. And he hangs up on him. He sits down. It rings again. And he didn't finish. And when Lamont's like, hold on. He doesn't even say hello. Lamont's got the most angry look, and he's all, dummy. It is so funny. I mean, this whole scene has to be one of the best in Sanford and Son history, where you've got these three memorable characters with Fred and Lamont, and Fred doing everything he can to stop Lamont from making a bonehead mistake. And finally, he sits down, and Fred comes in, and he's got a hard hat on. I don't know what the heck. He's like, you know how easy it is to get in through upstairs window? So Lamont's like, that's it. Stop. Don't do it. And he sits down, and he's like, and it's $16. And we got a fun fact on that, thanks to one of our viewers at our live show. We'll share on that about the $16. It's a lot more than you think here in $16. But Lamont's like, $16? He doesn't know what to do. And then Fred's even telling him, don't do it. Don't do it. And you can see Skeeter looking at him like, hey, you know, be quiet, man. And they even tell him, hey, man, he's a grown man. Let him make his own decisions. And he's all, don't do it. Don't do it. And it's too late. Lamont's like, I got it. I'm in. And I think he's got, what has he got? 4 twos. And then Skeeter's got 4 threes. And then, oh, no, this one, that was earlier when he lost. This is the final one. And he's all, straight flush. And Fred's all, that's right, straight flush. All your money just got flushed down the toilet. Another top 5 funny. And Lamont's done. He's like, that busts me out. And Fred's like, you know, man. And what do you say? Hey, maybe you're lucky in love because you ain't lucky tonight. And Fred's all, this is a great quote. I have a couple great quotes. This is one of the best quotes. He's all, yeah, what is it? Word for word, I want to get it. He's all, sweet lips Lamont, the dummy Don. Sweet lips Lamont, the dummy Don won. Oh my gosh, yeah, he's lucky in love, all right. We'll see more on that later. So that's it. Lamont's tapped out and they're done. They pulled off their prank because think about it. You're hanging with a bunch of friends playing poker. You play until there's 1, maybe 2. The second guy but you don't play till there's one gone and then you quit. I've never done that in poker unless you're trying to swindle someone. So Lamont is just like, he's pissed. I still don't think he thinks he got ripped off. I think he's thinking he just had bad luck because, hey, my dad doesn't know what he's talking about. So they're getting up and Fred's like, hey, you guys can't just play and take off. And it's right there. Oh, it's getting kind of late. Oh, bull crap. Getting kind of late. These guys are probably out till 4 in the morning. Yeah, they really got to rush out and get up for church the next day. So he's like, come on, man, just stay here and have a drink. And he's like, Lamont, and he gets Lamont out. He has Lamont go to the store, find a store that's open, take the truck. And in the meantime, Fred, I love it. He's like, you guys want to play poker with the old man? You know, I haven't played poker in years. And they're like, nah, man, the stakes are too high for you. And this is top 5 funny. This is a great one. He goes to the safe, and let me get each one. He goes safe, door, opens the door, shoebox. He's got the shoebox. Opens the shoebox. He's all mason jar, sock. When he pulls out of the mason jar, he pulls out a sock. He's all smells it, wool light. So he's all sock, wool light. Pulls it out, and he's all mint, government. It is so memorable and one of the funniest scenes. It's never escaped me. I can never get the order down and pat. I just always remember wool light. He smells wool light, and then he's all mint, government. And he has got a fat wad of cash. And they are excited now. And he's like, you know, and he plays them. And sometimes I think it's like Lamont, where you think you're so ahead of the game or you're too smart. Your opponent, you don't stop to go. It's a great thing in chess. Never underestimate your opponent or overestimate yourself. Because when you play chess, you could play a 3-hour game to a tie. Because it's all step by step. And these guys didn't. They said, we suckered his son who's young, and old people are fools, and he's been being annoying all night. We will take this fool's wad in 5 minutes with me doing the legal dealing. And Fred's like, oh, you know what? Yeah, let's go. And he said, now I had promised my wife I wouldn't play. And they're like, you have not played poker in over 20-something years? And he's like, yeah. And that's a red flag. They should be like, dude, this guy's sick. Nope, they're pumped. They're sitting down. They're going to stay. And Fred's like, I got this deck. I haven't opened it. I need my glasses. And he goes through his glasses. A great scene, years to come for Sanford and Son, where they pull out the shelf and he's pulling out glasses. And he's looking for a certain pair, and he gets them. And then he comes back, and he's got this brand new deck. He said, you know, this is when my wife passed away. Let's play with this deck. And they're like, yeah, heck yeah. They are so excited. They are going to take Fred for that huge wad. So it can't be long. It could have been 15, 20 minutes. Lamont pulls back in, and he's got the beer, and he's got some supplies, and he sees them. And they're all, hey, thanks a lot, Lucas. And he's all, it's Lamont. He's like, guys, why are you leaving? And they're like, no. And they take off in the car. Lamont didn't even see him. He just sees him leave. He walks in. And it is an iconic scene from Sanford and Son. Everyone has seen it if you're a Sanford and Son fan. And that is Fred counting the money, wearing all the stuff. He's got the jacket. He looks like just a pimp player. I mean, he looks like the man. And Lamont is just like got a grin, and he's just frozen. He cannot believe what he's seeing. And Fred's like, hey, come in, Lamont. Come in. He said, why don't you check some of this stuff out, see if there's something you like. It's all their clothes. You got some cool. The shoes are cool, but they remind me of bowling shoes. He's got the hats. These guys must have left in boxers, socks, and tank tops, because Fred took them for everything. And it's such a great moment for comedy, but it's also a truth lesson in life, is that listen to your elders, listen to people, not even older in their 60s. You can even be a guy who's in their 30s who's experienced something. And Lamont at this point should have learned something. You know what? Not just my dad, but I should listen to people that know things in life, because it's so true. I mean, I can go out there and learn something right now from a guy who's younger than me, but maybe experienced something for 5 years I never did. Listen to people when they're trying to help you, and you'll see what happens. So Lamont sits down. He's like, hey, Dad, I haven't been gone that long. No way you could have won all this. And then he shows him. He's like, here. He said, what do you see there? And he's like, 3 cards. He said, here, put on my glasses. He put something. He said, now what do you see? He's all 3 of diamonds, something, ace of club, whatever. It's a club. He names the 3 cards. And he sees it, and Lamont's like, hey, Pop, you're slick. He just learned his dad can be just as shiesty as these guys. And Fred's like, man, I tried to tell you he was doing a three-finger drag, dealing from the bottom. And so he caught him, and he's like, he's been doing it to you all night. And then I love it. Sanford Son always brings in Bible quotes, even if it's misquoted. This time, it's about 95% correct. But he's like, I always felt like the good book says. And Lamont's like, what's that? He's all, deal unto others. I can't even say it, because I keep hearing Fred say it. Deal unto others as others have dealt unto you. And he gets it, and it's such a great ending. It's such a great ending where it doesn't finally get screwed. Somebody doesn't break something, or somebody loses money. They come away with not only Lamont's money, but a fat wad, man. Fred deserves that. He should go to Vegas and have a nice weekend off. But see, these are the kind of things where I say Lamont needs to show his dad more respect and let him take naps when he comes home at night, man. He's got, remember, I got a mind full of junk. So the show ends where Fred's sitting there and Lamont comes down. He's got, I think it was Hucklebuck's shirt, and I think it was, whose hat? Rooster's maybe? But he's walking and he's got the jacket over his shoulder. He's looking so cool and so smooth. And he's like, I'm going on a date. And Fred's like, you ain't, no woman's going on a date with you at this time of night. And he's want to bet? Is Sheila? I already talked to her. She said, yeah. And he's like, she ain't going to do it. And he calls and he's like, but I just had to get dressed. And then she hangs up on him and he's like, Fred's like, all right, let's go. And he's ready to play a game of pokers with him. And he does a nice little shuffle where he side shuffle and top shuffle and he flicks them. So, man, what a great episode. What a great ending. It's so much comedy. It's so much laughter. Just doing this, I'm having fun. Just talking about it. And that's the point of the channel. Hopefully, if you're still watching, that's what this channel is. Yes, you might not learn anything. Or you might learn it. Or hopefully you're watching this and remembering and laughing. You know, most people don't want to watch this or hang out. But whoever does, please subscribe, like, and hang out. Because I love it. Right? Right now we're at 600 subscribers. It felt like it was just a month ago we were at 400. So there's people who do enjoy this, and that's what I want. I want to find the people that enjoy this, and we can laugh and have great times in the comments. And also for our live show, we will have a live show coming up. I got to make sure I have a time schedule clear, because the live shows, I love those. I love watching Sanford and Son with friends and other people in the community. So that is it on that episode. Comment if you put it as your number 1 in season 2. Is it in your top 10 all time? It is a top 10. I always talk about bottom 20, not top 20. This is 100% top 10 all time Sanford and Son episode for me. So let's get to our fun facts. Fun fact number 1, we find out Elizabeth's last words, and that was, don't use this doctor. You know, you sit there and you go, it's funny, but it is still cool to go, if you're diehard, and maybe this will pop up on a trivia question, right? And it'll say, what was Fred Sanford wife's Elizabeth's last words? We should all know that he said it right here. Don't use this doctor. Oh man, what a great line. Another one, that $16 in 1973. This came up, I learned this from Jessica Green. Jessica Green is one of our subscribers. She joins us multiple times on our live show. And that's the kind of thing you get. When we watch our live show, we'll talk about what we're seeing. And people, I don't know a bunch of this stuff. I don't know all this by heart, or even some. And people will share in there. Share Money, Clyde, Jessica. There's so many other people, Veronica. There's other people who come on there and make comments. And Bridget Thomas, Edwin Brown. I miss Edwin Brown. I haven't heard from him in a month, and I'm really disappointed. I wish he would come around. I hope he's okay with him. But anyways, back to the show. In 1973, $16. You know what it's equivalent to now? $110. That's right. So when Lamont's playing, that is big stakes. When we hear that and we go, hey man, and Brewster's like, we don't want a penny ante game. No. You don't want to just do quarters. But when you start getting dollars, $15, you hear it now and you go, oh, that's still kind of small time. You know, no, it's not. No, it's not. Sometimes $20 could be a big sell for Fred. That could be dinner and for the next 3 days or some groceries. That's a lot of money. So $16, and he bet that, and that's equivalent to $110 today based on inflation, how it was. So thank you, Jessica Green, for teaching us that in the live show. And I said I was going to put it in when we break down this episode, and I did. So that's a good one. Another one. This is a huge one. This is one of the best fun facts, in my opinion. The poker outfits that they're wearing, the guys who come in, it's actually worn from guys that are inspired by Caravaggio's 1594. Caravaggio's an artist. He did a painting called The Card Sharps. And in that painting, go look it up. I don't mind. I'll have a picture on it here for you. The Card Sharps. He did it. Look at those pics. Look at that outfit. That's all three of them. The hats, the feathers, the colors. Obviously, it's not going to be, it's modernized for the 70s, but that's crazy that it's actually taken from someone else's idea from 1594. I love that fact about that. Something I'd seen this episode 100 times and never even knew until about a year ago when I started doing Sanford and Son stuff for my family channel. This is also Ron Glass's TV debut. First time he was ever on something TV. Everyone who knows Ron Glass always loves him and his character. But you got to say, what was the first thing he was on? He was Hucklebuck, a very memorable character. So let's get to our familiar faces. Excuse me if I have to squint. My glasses are on. Thalmus, Rashulala. How do you pronounce the last name? Rashulala? Thalmus, I know that, Thalmus, he was Skeeter Matthews. Now, I know him first ever from Bill, from What's Happening, Raj and Dee's dad, from What's Happening, Bill Thomas. I loved him in that. I loved him as a dad. I was so disappointed they did not have him in more episodes, because he was troubled, cheated on his wife, had problems with his marital, but he was a great dad when he was around. He was angry. That's my dad and my stepdad. You know, it was someone who invoked fear, and that's what you wanted. Because then the kid, look at Raj and Dee, they were raised right, and that's what we need in society nowadays. I'm not going to get on a thing, but that's what I love him as, that is Bill Thomas. He was from New Jack City, big time movie later on, Above the Law, Roots, and even appeared in an episode of Star Trek. He's done many other shows, but those were some of the big key things that he was in and then we know him mostly as Skeeter. He also appears again in Sanford and Son in the episode where Fred almost gets emergency hemorrhoid surgery, when he's the guy who goes around talking about putting little electric things on your cardiogram heart. But Fred's like, I don't want no electric things on my heart. Ron Glass, we talked about, he played Hucklebuck. He was also in Barney Miller. Go look down on a previous show where I broke down Ron Glass, everyone who appeared from Sanford and Son in Barney Miller. That's a great fun fact episode as well. The New Odd Couple, that only lasted like half a season. I went into that why. It was because it was with him and Damon Wilson. What a great pairing. I would have loved to have had that work, but there was a writer's strike, so they didn't get to finish it. They had to reuse original episodes, and it's hard to get a spin-off or a remake going when you just use the original material. So that was disappointing. I really think that could have had some wheels and legs if it had taken off. Firefly and Serenity, but he's done a bunch of other things, including coming back on Sanford and Son, just like Thalmus did. He came back in Sanford and Son in the episode where Grady's taken over. Fred's not there. He's watching the house, and he's one of Lamont's friends who just got out of jail, and they get him a job working for Esther. And finally, we got David Moses. He played Rooster, and in that he was in The Powers of Matthew's Story, Scared to Death. He was in other shows too, but those are the biggest two movies that were with him in it. So that is it on Familiar Faces. That is it with Fun Facts. Man, what a memorable episode. I hope you stuck around. I'm trying to get these under 20 minutes. Like I said, if there's only certain parts you want, fast forward to it. But this was such a fun episode to watch and break down. This is why I love doing this show, because we're getting to talk about it with everyone. So I really hope, comment, like, please share with the community. Definitely, if you see any of this you like it, and subscribe to my channel. And I hope you like some of the new Sanford and Son. I love that picture. I had to put this, right? Remember this one? Comment below if you've even got to this far and you remember what this picture is from, what episode it was in. Comment in there and let me know, okay, if you remember the episode and the scene it was in. One of my favorites. I actually just watched that one the other day with my two youngest kids. All right, have a great day. We'll see you Friday for either Friday Fun Facts, or maybe we'll break down another clip like we did last week. That was a lot of fun as well. And I will try to figure out if I can do a live show this Friday. I know Saturday night I'm possibly busy, but I'll see if I can get one going this Friday. Thanks a lot, guys. Talk to you later. Peace.